Hello, everybody. Hi, how are you? Happy Sunday. I'm here early today. I got a lot of stuff to do, so I wanted to be sure that I got to go over the book with you all before it got too late. Okay, let's see here. So now we're on we ended at chapter 9. Okay, so 10 through 12. 10, 12. Yeah. So that's what we're going to go over today. And please, if you have comments or you want to talk about something in particular, because I don't go through every single thing that he says in the book. So if you want to discuss something more specific or in more detail, go ahead and put, something either on the Patreon or you can, we can chat about it right here. Okay. All right. Okay, let's get started. Now, the title of this one is Don't Be a Turkey. Okay, so I love this part of the book, okay, because Taylor really does a good job laying out. Hi, L Style. How are you? Yes, you are here first. All right. So let's go over this. So he says that the basic assumption about jobs that we have is that jobs are safe and they're always going to be here because they've always been here. Okay. People have been going to school, getting jobs for a very long time. Okay. So he says we're resting in that false sense of security. Right. And he calls that, he calls that silent risk. That's what he calls it. Silent risk. He said, because that's what's really happening. What's really happening is we're accumulating silent risk and it's silent risk because we have a job because someone gave it to us, which means that same someone can take it away. Okay. And we have little to no control over when that happens. Okay. And a lot of us know that that's true. Okay. We know that that's true. We have unions and all this other kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, they can take it away. Okay. Now, the title is Don't Be a Turkey because he gives a very good example of what he means by this, right? If you think of a turkey when it's first born, the turkey really feels like the butcher loves and cares for him, doesn't he? He gets fed all the time. He's sleeping in a warm environment, and it seems like his life is just either going to be the same or get better as the days go by. That's what the turkey feels like. Until one November, the fourth Wednesday, he's done. Now there was no evidence that anything was going to change. Okay, he was being taken care of, the butcher, food, shelter, all that stuff. So and then all of a sudden, on that Wednesday evening, okay, he found out all of that was for a totally different purpose. But by that time, it's too late. Okay. Taylor says, when you're working for somebody else, you're a turkey. That's essentially what you are. You're a turkey. Okay, because it's silent risk that you're accumulating. You have no idea. Fed for the slaughter, right, Elsa? Exactly, right? And this is something that I talked about I wrote a white paper before I left government. And I talked about something like this, right? Businesses want us for our labor. Okay, that is what they want. Okay, and if that's all they had to do, which they did back in the day, they just take us for our labor, and when we got tired or ill or sick, or died or whatever, they bring somebody else on for their labor. Okay, that's what you get hired for. You get hired for what you can do, for your labor. Now that's either blue collar, where you're actually working with your hands or whatever, or white collar, where it's more a knowledge type thing, but it's still labor. Okay, it's still labor, right? And that's why we are what do they call us? Not employees. It's another word. Resources. That's what it is. Because when the resource runs out, what do? You go get another resource, right? Now, those at the head of the organization are called assets. They're assets. Okay. If you're not a leader, or you get them golden parachutes and shit when you leave or get fired or whatever, you're a resource. Okay. So that's what he's saying here. All right. The turkey was a resource, okay, to be used for something. And then now that turkey was slaughtered, guess what they're going to do? They're going to get another turkey for next Thanksgiving. Okay. I mean, it sounds morbid and cruel or whatever, but hey, you live in a capitalist society. All right. So just, you got to live with it. Now, everything about the turkey's life said that it was loved and cared for. Everything about his life until that day. All right. Now, what Taylor is saying is that entrepreneurial risk, because you still have risk just because you have your own business or you are working with entrepreneurial skills in an organization, that doesn't mean there's no risk for you. Okay. But what he's saying is the risk is more visible and you have more control as an entrepreneur. Okay. And again, an entrepreneur, what do you say, L Style? Will automation, artificial intelligence replace a lot of IT jobs? Not just IT jobs. I mean, all kinds of jobs, right? Jobs that don't, and even so, jobs that don't require, what do you call it? Like human intuition type things, right? Like those kinds of jobs. So, but anything where you just need a recipe, something that says step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, that kind of stuff is already, going to technology, right? Because it's cheaper. They ain't got to pay no, benefits and all that. And it works all day. It doesn't leave work at 5 and come back. No, it runs all the time, so absolutely. But I don't think that's not something you have to worry about if we listen to what Taylor is saying in his book, The End of Jobs. Okay. It's not like we can be moved out. Okay. Because what AI and IT and all that stuff, it's artificial intelligence, yes, but it's also, what's the other word that they have for it? Augmented, right? So it's helping us do our stuff better. Okay, so if you look at it like that, rather than pushing us out, of our jobs, it's helping us do what we do more efficiently, more broadly, more accurately. Okay, machine learning, exactly. So, entrepreneurial risk, right? And again, an entrepreneur is someone who creates systems. Okay, someone who creates systems. And a system is a collection of entities seen by someone as working together to produce something. All right. So if you are, now we think of the big people we think of when we think of entrepreneurs, like the Facebook guy. What the hell is his name? Zuckerberg, and the Amazon dude, and all these other people, whatever. But you can look online, like Instagram, and even here on YouTube, we have a lot of entrepreneurs who have created systems, right? They've created new products, new processes, new activities, more different kinds of entertainment, for people. They're basically content. Wherever you can create content, okay, you're doing well. You're doing very well. Okay, so content creation is seems like it's the way to go. All right, and there is enough room for you to create your own content. Okay, to become an entrepreneur, and not even become an entrepreneur too, because you're already that. You already have those skills to really practice and expand on those entrepreneurial skills. Okay. So I want to show y'all, the last time we talked about leverage, okay, and about the various things, like where in our current careers can we actually make some progress? Because I know a lot of us feel stuck, okay? We feel trapped. Like there's, we have to wait on somebody in order for us to get to the next level or the next step, okay? And that's not true. That's absolutely not true. So first of all, we have to change our thinking about that, all right? If anything different is going to happen. But let me show you these leverage points, okay? Oh, you know what? I can't. God damn it. I have to be on StreamYard to show y'all this. I can't do it here. I got to remember to do that the next time. But let me tell them to you, okay? And I'm going to post what I have on my Patreon. So if you're not on my Patreon, get there, all right? So you can see what these are. But let me just tell you what they are really quickly. And the next time we do this, next Sunday, I'm going to have them, all laid out for you. And we're going to have to do this through StreamYard, okay? So that you can see what I'm looking at. So there's 12 constraints in every situation or system or environment, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to call it a system, okay? 12 constraints. Now, first of all, let me tell you what a situation is. I'm very big on definitions, on defining stuff before we move forward, okay? Because I don't like assuming that y'all know what I'm talking about or that we all have the same thing in our minds, okay, when we're talking about something. So a situation is a set of circumstances in which you find yourself. That's a situation, okay? I already told you the definition of a system, right? Now, so there's 12 constraints in every situation. So your work life is a situation or a system. Your family life is a situation or a system, okay? Your physical being is a system or a situation, okay? It's a state in which you find yourself, okay? The first constraint or leverage point, okay? And a leverage point is a place where you can actually make a change, a small change, that'll make changes in the whole system, okay? Now, the first four I'm going to tell you are physical. These are physical leverage points, okay? The first is parameter. So a parameter is anything that classifies you. For example, the culture you're from, the society you live in, your financial status, like your credit score, okay? Your physical being, your height, a parameter is anything that puts, blocks and stuff around you to say, okay, this is Cheryl. That's her. She's this age, she's this height, she's this culture, she has this much money, that kind of thing, okay? The next is a buffer, all right? And buffers absorb shock. They're like a protective barrier, okay? For example, your home insulation is a buffer, okay? So what kind of buffers do you have in your system? What kind of things do you have in your system that that absorb shock or like a protective barrier, okay? For some people, it could be smoking, right? Or drugs or something, things that you feel help to reduce impact of something, okay? Now I'm going to have a whole worksheet explaining all this, and because we're going to do an exercise at the end of the month where we identify the specific areas we can make changes to get to the next step, okay? The next one is physical structure, okay? So I talk about this with my partner a lot. So for the physical structure, the leverage is first in the way in proper design of it. You got to design it right first, okay? Now, if you drop the ball on the design, okay, then the next thing is understanding the strengths and the limitations of the particular design, okay? Because what you want to do is avoid straining. If you built something so that it's really weak in some area, you want to definitely be sure you avoid straining that area, okay? So physical structure is a leverage point. Feedback loop is the next one. Okay. Now, well, feedback loop timing is what it is. So you can't respond to short-term changes with long-term delays. Okay. So I'm experiencing that in we had a meeting on Microsoft Teams is what it was, right? And we were in the meeting, and people would send chats, but it would take forever to get there, right? So by the time the response got back, we had already moved forward with something else. The feedback loop timing was way off, way off. Okay, we had to make quick changes, but the response was taking too long, So that's where the places in our situations in our careers where feedback loop timing is off, is definitely a place that we can intervene. Okay, negative feedback loops. Negative feedback loops are like a thermostat and a flushing toilet. Okay, it's self-correcting, right? Now you have to have a goal for a negative feedback loop. So if the goal is to be 70 degrees in here, okay, and it gets, down to a certain, the thermostat will work until it gets it back up to what the goal is. Okay, all right. Now a positive feedback loop is like childbirth contractions. Okay, it's going to keep it's self-reinforcing. It's going to increase until an outcome is reached. Okay. Blood clotting is the same thing, right? It's going to keep doing what it needs to do until an outcome is reached. Okay. Rules of a system. So that's like incentives and punishments. So rules define the boundaries and the degree of freedom you have. Okay. So what are the rules that you have about your career? What are the rules that you follow, even if you didn't make them, about your career? Okay. And is there anything in that area that you can change? Okay. Self-organization is just all the things we already mentioned, is creating new ones, new parameters, new buffers, new physical structures, all that stuff. Self-organize. Okay. So it's changing any aspect of the things we listed above. Okay. The next one is whole system goals. Now, goals are really important because goals are important because they really, and I said whole system goals, okay, like the big goal, right? The ultimate thing. Because if you think about influential people that have lived in the world, good and bad, okay, people who've done amazing things and people who've done some horrific things, okay. If you think about those kinds of people and the goals they had, what were they able to do? We use them all the time, but think of Hitler, because that's this dude. Think of him and the goals he had, the whole system goals that he had, right? And the way he was able to just mobilize people toward that goal. All right. It was bad. Like the outcome was awful. Okay. And, then you have more altruistic individuals who have whole system goals and are able to mobilize people toward that goal. So what is your whole system goal, right? Your goal may be to find a job or to get a better job or to start a business or whatever, but that's not your whole system goal. What's the big up here goal? Why are you doing that? Okay. And is that something that you need to look at and change? Now, a lot of times we don't even know. We don't consciously know what the goal is, but I got a way for you to find out. Okay, I absolutely have a way for you to find out. Now, the next one is paradigms. Okay. So the more we go, the more we go up, the harder it is for you to do it. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Okay. The easiest thing to do is parameters. Okay. That's the easiest thing to change. The hardest, the most difficult, the one that you're going to fight tooth and nail to not change, even if it can make the biggest impact, is where I am right now. Your whole system goals, your paradigms, okay? Because you feel like, so a paradigm is the source of a system. A system is born out of your paradigm, okay? And your paradigm is your mindset, the way that you see the world, okay? For example, let me tell you how hard this is. Let me tell you. You know right now for a fact, that nouns are different than verbs, that these are two different things. What's going to change your mind about that? You know for a fact that 2 + 2 is 4. You know this. You know this. Your whole world is built on these very, very simple things. And yeah, so I'm going to go more into that with you all, but yeah, this ain't the place to address those kinds of things, because they're very hard, and that doesn't mean 2 + 2 is 4 is a lie. Like that's not what I'm saying. But it's a whole thing. Who up in here? Hey, keep it techie. How you doing? And the last one is to actually transcend paradigms. Okay. Now on my Patreon, I have a link. Not a link. I have the person who came up with these, and they're wonderful. They're absolutely awesome. I love them. Now, in the book, in the End of Jobs, he talks about it too. Taylor talks about it as well. He doesn't go into all of these. He doesn't go into all of those, but he does talk about the first few, which are the areas where we can do something right now today to actually make some progress if we feel like we're stuck. Okay, if we feel like we have to wait on somebody to make a decision for us to move forward, like we can't make the decision ourselves, right? We need someone with more power, more money, more influence, more whatever, okay? Which isn't true, all right? So that was book club meeting 3. Again, I don't go over every single word he says in the chapter. So if you're reading it and you want to address something that he talks about, then let me know either here or on the Patreon. I'm going to post this in the Patreon right now so you can see it, but I'm going to, clean it up and fix it up and do all that stuff. And I'm going to make some worksheets for the end of the month for us to go back and do some work with, and then come back and see some concrete real life steps we can take to change, some of the things we want to change in our systems. All right. If you want to, you may feel like you're fine, only change nothing. Good for you. Congratulations. All right. So for some of you who are on my cyber training channel, I'm going to see you later on this evening, because I'm going to show you the resume that got me my first cyber security job. I'm going to talk about some other stuff. Okay. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for being here, L Style. Thank you. Keep it techie. What'd you say? Jeff Bezos' parents gave him a loan for $300,000 back in the 90s to start Amazon. You see what I'm saying? Good for Jeff. Good for Jeff. But okay, I'll see y'all later. Okay, bye.